Well, hi guys, it's that time. It's our Bible teaching snippet of the day. Well, I am getting exactly what I knew would happen when I started teaching this hot topic about whether God actually hates people enough that he would torture them for all eternity in a place of fire without any mercy on them ever. I knew I would get the indoctrinated church people who can only believe what they've been told to believe and have never studied church history, other Bibles prior to the King James that didn't even have the word hell in it, things like that, and even Bibles after the King James that went back to the original language and removed the word hell and put in the accurate words, which would be in the Old Testament Sheol, which is a place of the dead, or even just simply a grave in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, that word is Hades, and that means exactly what the Old Testament Hebrew word Sheol means, but it's the Greek word Hades, meaning the place of the dead, the realm of the dead, or simply the grave. Then we have Gehenna, which is an actual geographical location in Jerusalem. It's called the Valley of the Sons of Hinnom, the Valley of Slaughter in the Old Testament, or simply when Jesus used the word Gehenna. Jesus never used the word hell, by the way. When Jesus used the word Gehenna in the Gospels, he was referring to a current place that was actively in use as a city dump. They put sulfur and brimstone into the valley so the fire could not go out. So when they threw dead animals or garbage refuse, even executed criminals, their bodies, it would burn it away and keep disease and sickness from spreading into the city. And then, of course, we have Tartarus in one place in the New Testament, and that's in 2 Peter. And Tartarus is not a place of fire. It is actually a prison, darkness, chains, and it's where the fallen angels, there's 200 of them, were being held until their day of judgment. I have a question for you just to think about today. If God is such an angry God and he believes in torturing and killing and it may be even burning people alive, and at some point they just don't exist anymore because they're annihilated, kind of like burning a log of fire in a fireplace and it just goes to ashes. Why didn't God just go ahead and zap those angels and kill them immediately? Why is he holding them there until a future time for them to answer to what they have done their day of judgment? It's just something to think about. So the next thing that I want to say here is that I am, when people get on my Facebook page and blow it up, calling me a heretic and going to all of this stuff, I am going to delete and hide their message or simply block them, because I'm not open to trying to sit here and spend hours and hours and hours typing out the same thing over and over again and get into endless hours upon hour debates with people on a subject that I have spent over a year studying. I have studied every scripture. I study 125 different translations of the Bible. I've studied church history. I've studied where this doctrine of eternal torment and hell came from. I have studied all of this. And what I found is these folks that want to get in and just throw a bunch of rocks at me haven't spent 1 hour of their own time studying anything. They're just representing the person that told them what to believe. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean to anyone. I simply don't have time to play nitpick, verse snatch, rock throwing with folks that have not even listened to all of my teachings and don't understand the foundation that I'm building. You can't just snatch a 15-minute teaching and judge a person on that teaching. That's not fair. That's not even fair. So I'm going to keep my Facebook page cleaned up because of that, guys, okay? Anyone that wants to private message me and talk to me all they want to, please. I love to answer questions. And if you have a legitimate question, I am absolutely going to answer that. But I'm not going to get on an endless Facebook debate with anyone on this subject simply because I can't take 5 hours to try to uneducate and re-educate every single person that's been indoctrinated with the Roman Catholic doctrine of St. Jerome's Latin Vulgate Bible that St. Augustine around the 500 AD, the church, the Roman Catholic Church, started adopting. I don't have time to do that type of ministry to each and every individual person. And if they're not willing to watch videos or listen to what I've already taught or study on their own, you just have to go away and don't be mad. I'm not mad at anybody. I just don't have time to do that, okay? I spend a lot of time in ministry, and I do not have time to argue your indoctrinated church doctrine that God Himself could not change. Okay? No hard feelings there. But I do want to read this. I wrote this to a couple of different people. So we all understand whether we believe and hold to Calvinism, which Calvinism is that only a select few, the elect, are even able to be saved. A man named John Arthur, I've read some of his books. I have a lot of respect for him in some ways. But he is a Calvinist. He believes that no one can be saved unless God has already predetermined for that to happen, and everybody else is born to die and go to hell. And I'm sorry, guys, I just don't see God as being that type of deity. He loves His entire creation. I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of scriptures, and the Calvinists are cherry-picking what they're using. All belief systems can cherry pick what they believe and teach. Okay, so the next belief I want to talk about, so Calvinism is a belief system about who can or will be saved. The next belief is Arminianism, and that is about those who hear and respond to the gospel can be saved, possibly. They are given the opportunity, and depending on how they respond will determine whether or not they go to heaven or go to hell for all eternity. Now, so you understand, in America, you've got the Baptist, United Methodist, Pentecostal churches. There's a lot of different denominations that hold to Arminianism, okay? Now, inside these denominations that I've just spoke about, even in Calvinism, Arminianism, and even in what we call non-denominational churches, there's always people like me who actually believe that God will reconcile all people and all things to Himself in the end. They just cannot say that because every Christian in denominational churches tend to have a pocket full of rocks that they are happy to take out and throw at you, a fellow Christian, which is unbiblical, by the way. Universalism is usually what it's called, and that is sometimes very much misinterpreted, guys. Universalism does not say that all people are saved and that sin has no consequences and that there will be no judgment and everybody just gets their little free ticket to heaven. That is an over-exaggeration of the position of universal salvation or universal reconciliation. Universal reconciliation actually means that ultimately, either in this life or in the afterlife, Jesus will be the victor. Jesus will draw all things and all men, all creation to Himself, and He will ultimately win back over and get everything back in God. Everything will be reconciled, and some of it will take time. There will be a judgment. There will be a punishment with correction that will make the person see their error and see their lies so they can turn from that. And every person will be exposed to truth. And ultimately, God's entire creation will go back to the way it was in Genesis at creation, when all things will be made perfect again. Jesus says it himself, I make all things new. He doesn't say I kill some so I can make the rest new. Okay, just saying. So all things will be made new. All things will return to the way they were prior to Adam's rebellion. Adam, his sin, death, and Satan's plan will not triumph Jesus. Jesus is the victor, ultimately, and I'll tell you who believes this. The Eastern Orthodox churches believe this. We are considered Western churches, and we have been homeschooled by the Roman Catholic Church, and what's sad is most people don't even know that. Most people don't even know the roots of what they're believing came straight from a false religion called Roman Catholicism. The Eastern Orthodox churches never believed in eternal hell and punishment. They always believed in total reconciliation at some point, not necessarily in your lifetime, but or the person's lifetime, but ultimately it will all be reconciled to God the Father by Jesus the Son. The Eastern Orthodox churches has believed this for 2,000 years and have never shifted and changed what they believe. Okay? And one of the reasons is they're not using a corrupted Catholic Bible called the Latin Vulgate translations. The Latin Vulgate by St. Jerome is where our hell doctrine came from, okay? And from him putting it in his Bible, St. Augustine, a Catholic priest, started teaching that, and that's what the Roman Catholic Church propagated. And here we are in the year 2000. That's what we believe here in the Western churches, because we're reading the Bibles that was passed down to us through the Roman Catholic Church. I pray this is making sense to you. So what I want to end with today, okay, I've explained the three different beliefs. Calvinism, only a select few, okay, and we love that because we're special and God loves us, but he don't love nobody else, okay. And then Arminianism. Now we've made salvation based on what mankind can do here in this earth with whatever it was Jesus did on the cross. Arminianism is putting the weight on us to evangelize, and the weight of how good I evangelize as to whether a person will accept Christ and say a sinner's prayer. That's Arminianism. And Universalism is a higher degree of belief that our God is actually as big as he claims to be, and that Jesus is absolutely, totally, all in all going to be the great victor, and it's not Satan, and it's not Adam's sin, okay? But I want to say this really, really quick. None of these three are critical church doctrines in the way that we deny Jesus or that we deny the work of the cross. We just deny or vary our beliefs on the total effect of the cross. That's all we're doing. We're disagreeing on the end result of the cross. But none of these are critical church doctrines that determine whether a person is saved or not. Really what it determines, guys, is our view and opinion of God. Okay? That is the huge effect there. Do we truly believe that God is truly good and he's going to reconcile everything and everyone back to its original condition, what he created it to be? And is he really that powerful? Does his love actually endure forever, or is it at the moment a person dies, it ends? Does God's loving kindness and mercy follow us and endure forever, or does his mercy end when someone dies? See, I believe God's love truly is everlasting, even into the afterlife, and his mercy endures even after a person quits breathing. That's all. All it really does, guys, one of these three beliefs simply affect your view of eschatology and your opinion of God and whether you can trust him or not. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it out loud. I trust him with his creation. I trust him with every person, every animal, every part of his beautiful creation. He made it, he has a plan, and he will ultimately make it back exactly the way He intended it. And us, we as humans, we absolutely will be made in His likeness and image, just like He started out with, okay? I love you, and I'm going to get back on this tomorrow. Bye-bye.